Right, welcome back to the channel. MG video today. So I'm sitting in a MG ZS that has a coolant leak, but it has no visible external leaks, and the coolant is not going into the oil. Where do you think it's coming out of then? Let's go and have a look, shall we?
Huh?
And there you go, that is where the coolant is leaking. There's a crack in the head and it's leaking into the exhaust port, and then it goes out the exhaust. So you were probably thinking, well, why is he just going in and taking a turbo off? Well, simple answer is, this isn't the first one I've seen doing this. And you can see on the inside of the cat there, it's starting to break up where it's been contaminated with coolant. So that's going to need replacing. Right then, so it's off with her head. And this is actually quite an involved job. As you can see, there's a fair bit on there. But we'll start with the easy bit and we'll have the airbox off. Our next step is to remove this intake pipe, which comes from the throttle body. It's got a little twisty thing there which you have to twist. That grey bit, you twist that and then that pulls off of there. Take that pipe off of there. There's a bolt there, down there. There's a bolt down the front there. And then we unclip it off the intercooler down there and get this pipe out the way. Disconnect this here as well. Like so. And this disconnects by pulling that clip out of there, which can be quite fiddly. Okay, that pipe is now off there. That's the clip you have to pull to get it out. Right, bring the car back down and do the top bit. Okay, so I've taken out the battery in the battery box to give me more room. And I get to this pipe, and there's one bolt there, and there's another one up the back here somewhere. I'll find it in a minute, but anyway, it's buzz him out of there. And the other one is I missed. There it is there. Come on, come on. That's him. That's it, loose now. So the next is this clip on top. It's that grey thing there you have to twist, and it can be quite awkward. Right, so I ended up taking the throttle body off complete with the pipe because this thing is just fighting me. You have to twist it, but it is not letting go. And the workshop manual doesn't even say which way to turn it, but whichever way I try, it would not let go. So I ended up doing that, but I am going to try and get it off now. That can fuck off because I've had enough of it. Right. Coils, fuel rail next.
It's fucking 22.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nearly time to go home then?
Alright. It's fucking cold.
Yeah.
And then my fucking body warm in the morning.
Okay, to get the fuel rail off, undo that. There's going to be a bit of fuel pressure in there, so undo it slowly. Multi-plug there, 3 10mm there, 3 10mm down there. The plugs onto the injectors, and you see those little Allen key bolts down there. You have to undo those as well, and those pipes are a tight seal onto the injectors, so you have to wiggle these out carefully not to break the pipes. Okay, I stormed ahead without you for a second there. Thermostat housing's off. All the wiring harness across the top of the engine is off. So what I want to do now is get the inlet manifold off. And then I can get to this bracket on the fuel pump and get this wiring harness unclipped off of it. Okay, once that bracket is out the way, that then reveals this connector on the fuel pump, which needs to come off. Like that. And the rest of that wiring stays with the block. And that's that. Right, next step, rocker cover. Right, next step, sump off, and I'll show you why in a minute. Right, and the reason is 2 timing cover bolts are actually inside the sump. So what I do is I buzz up those 2 bolts and then put the sump back on to stop it making a mess. And next, remove the alternator. I've already taken the wiring off of it. So it's 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there, and 1 at the top. It's out. I did.
That's like you fucking taking engines out.
It survived the ordeal, nothing's broken off it. I'll put that down here with my junk pile. It's getting bigger. That is an absolute bitch to get off. It's an interference fit on the crank and you need a puller, and it is really, really tight. Okay, I've got the engine in a time position, and what I need to do now is back this tension off and basically just ratchet it back and then put this pin in. And with the camera on the tripod, it's too dark down here to see it, so I'm just going to do it and I'll show you the finished. Okay, so the pin's in. Once I've got the tension off, I'll ratchet that back a bit more to get it more loose, but the guide is loose now. So all I've got to do is undo that bolt, get the guide out. Right, so take that guide out now, and then the head bolts, and then it's off. Okay, there's a new one. Now I've got to swap everything from that into there. Okay, everything swaps over except the injectors, and we'll get to that in a minute. Torque setting for these bolts is 10 to 14 Newton meters. My torque wrench starts at 20, so it's had to be done by guesstimation. I've done enough cam carrier caps to know, sort of, without using a torque wrench. It really is just nip and a little bit. So that's that done. So now we're on to these injectors, and you need a slide hammer to get them out, which I'll show you now. So we've got this little doofer, which goes over the top of the injector. Right, just nip them bolts up a minute. And there you go, he's out.
Air filter to do, one degree, bottom filter.
So the head bolt torque is 30 newton meters plus 240 degrees. So what I did was I put 30 newton meters on it, and then I painted a paint mark at 12 o'clock and then turned the bolt 240 degrees. The tool is supposed to go all the way down to the head, but it is really tight to get down there. But as long as these dots are at 12 o'clock, so that I can line them up with the marks on the chain, then all is good. Okay, so the black mark on the chain lines up with there. That black mark on the chain lines up with there. And the pink mark lines up down there. So all I've got to do now, I've also ratcheted this tensioner back even more as well to give me more room to get the guide in. So it is now a case of just getting the guide in, pulling the pin out the tensioner, and that's it, timed. Okay, so that guide is on. I'll just pull the pin out of here now, and there we go. I'll spin the engine over by hand now and make sure, but to be honest, when you've got a timing system like that, you can't get it wrong. You'd have to really screw up to get that wrong. I've loosely put this engine mount on now just to support it. Before the timing cover goes on, it is important that that upper part of the sump is removed, because if you don't and you just slide the timing cover back in over the top, 100% it will leak. Don't ask me how I know. Okay, lower part of the sump is off. It's over there in the oil drainer. Sealant cleaned off this, so I'll bring it down now, get the melt back off. I have to support it under the gearbox now because the sump is off it, and then we'll put the timing cover back on. Okay, so I've stormed ahead a little bit. Alternator and inlet manifold is back on. Obviously the timing cover and engine mount, rocker cover, started routing some of the wiring. The water housing on the back of the head is on, the vacuum pump is on. Yeah, it's a lot quicker when you're not filming it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to crack on, get it back together, and in the next scene, or the next clip, we'll be turning the key. Right, got oil, got water, let's see what happens. Like a watch. It'll be a bit steamy for a little while until all that antifreeze in the exhaust burns off. That would be alright. Just give it a visual, make sure there's no leaks. Looking good. All done. Went on road test, put it back on the ramp, double checked for leaks, and all is fine and dandy. So there we are, job done. Right. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. All the best.